Hi there, and hello, and welcome to Life in the Bitter Truth. This is the podcast where we seek to understand the deeper, sometimes painful aspects of life and what it all means to us. I'm Vittorio.
And I'm Alex. Thank you. My fans. My fans, please announce yourselves in the chat.
That's right. So what's been going on? We've had what going on these last few weeks. So I know that...
a lot of work.
A lot of work, yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Been busy?
Yes, very busy with our vintage business that we have in Upland at the Vintage Vaults. Shout out. Come and check out Huerita Vintage and Till Death Vintage there. We also are starting up our poetry workshops again for Poetry for the Masses.
Good deal.
And just,
is it truly for the masses?
It is. Okay. At least here with us, it is.
Because you know me, I like to spin a riddle every once in a while.
You're invited. I would love for you to come. The theme.
I've been so busy. So.
The theme is vices.
Vices?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got a lot of vices.
So that's why I think you would be. I think you would have a lot to say.
But I'd have to come up with a poem.
No, I give you the prompt.
Oh.
And then you write on the spot.
Oh, right on the spot. I don't know if I can.
You could do it.
I'm good at ad-libbing, but
we'll figure it out.
Because a lot of people think that we're talking about in this podcast. Obviously, our goal is to talk about we changed our format some time back, but we're talking about current events, and we provide layers of opinion. Sometimes not real, whack jobs. Sometimes it is real. You'll never know, but sometimes you will. It just depends, right?
Right.
So
nuance is a thing.
We're just trying to provide some entertainment and some insight into some nuances of what we talk about, or what we think about, right? So
and these are conversations that I would have with my dad, with or without this podcast. So
of course, so that's why these people, that's why all the people out there just sometimes can be wacky, but whatever. We love y'all.
And we're talking about that today.
Yeah, we are. What are we talking about today?
But before, how are you doing, Dad? Let's just, because we're going to be on a ride right now.
I have just been so freaking busy. I mean, I'm doing 1,000 things. I have no time. I wake up running a million miles.
Yeah.
Just busy. Just a lot of stuff I've got to do. The day fills up quickly. I've got your youngest daughter. I mean, your youngest sister. I'm sorry. My youngest daughter is gearing up to leave. So she's the last. She's graduating high school, and then she's off to college in August. And so we got to drive her out. I'll probably fly out. I don't like to drive that far, but
we'll figure it out. We might do a road trip.
And then planning another trip. Another vacation for myself. I'm working on that now. Can't give you the details just yet. But
you guys are finding out before I found out.
Yeah, so I'm working on that, and I just need some.
Just so much is going on.
I need some quiet time. Yeah. What's the last? So, what are you reading right now?
What am I reading right now? Oh God, nothing. Oh, okay. Nothing right now. Unfortunately, the Bible mainly.
I just got done the Bible. Okay, I just got done with Dean Koontz's The City.
Oh, nice.
It was a slow ride, and then the end, it hit it for me.
Okay,
it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's cool. Okay, great.
It's better for you because you do the audiobooks while you're on your way, like in the car and stuff. Me, I don't really like audiobooks. I like the smell. I like the feeling in my hands, all that good shit. Yeah. And so, but what I do every day is listen to the podcast. Ours as well.
Everybody should be listening to Life in the Bitter Truth.
But the H3 podcast, that's my podcast. Has been since 2018. Yeah, so every single day for all those years.
So I've got Audible. And I've got, Spotify. And Spotify, I can listen to it free, but they only give you like 15 hours a month.
Right. They give you like a limit.
And then boom, they cut you off.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so I'm currently listening to Game of Thrones.
Oh, nice.
And it's interesting. The narrator is he's so dramatic.
You have to be, though,
it's very good stuff. I don't think I could do it the way but it's a long book. So.
But what I like to listen to in the car is true crime.
True crime, okay.
I'm like, who killed who? You know what I mean? Right. While I'm in traffic. But all of that to say, today we are talking about a very fun topic, and I've been looking forward to it. Let me just say, putting everything together has got me very excited. So today we're going to be finally addressing your comments, the comment section of this podcast.
But people out there making comments about the shit we say?
Yes. Yeah. So, many months ago, my dad had this idea to do this podcast. And of course, as a creative, I'm all for it. And I'm like, how can we get this off the ground? And it's been fun. We've just been shooting the shit and learning from each other and hearing each other out. That's essentially the biggest skill that I think the podcast kind of flexes is listening, right? Yeah. Hearing each other's different perspectives. And a lot of y'all have a lot to say about that.
Yeah, and I think the podcast has also provided us some connection, right? And we've kind of, doing this isn't easy because you kind of fumble your way through it and then you kind of learn and then you keep adapting. Now we have a fluid approach to certain things.
Right.
It's good.
Still learning.
This
is a new format for a lot of people. So.
Yeah. And the format's going to continue to evolve, and we're going to keep on bringing up topics, but we're going to be also bringing on guests, and we're working through a lot. And that's part of when I say I'm working on a lot, there's just a lot of stuff that we're trying to put together and provide content that
people like.
Tantalizes people. It makes people have a little, what? Well,
and starts conversation, So we're going to go through a few of our favorite comments. I've pulled some aside for us to kind of go into.
We're not big on replying to people. Because not only do we do the podcast, we also put out shorts against the podcast or about the podcast, and we get comments on both. So it's kind of
you can't keep up with everything. You can't.
Yeah, I mean, at first we thought we sat down and she told me Alex told me right away, do not reply to the wacky people out there. It's just, what's the point?
Just let them be.
They're gonna make their statements, and they're gonna be making statements, and it's just whatever. But then sometimes you sit back and say, you know what, these people are just so clueless.
Yeah.
Because we're not really. I mean, some of the stuff we say is purely for entertainment value and or to get a rise out of people. And some people
maybe you do that, but also people don't understand humor or sarcasm or nuance.
There's nuances to some of the stuff we say. There's shades and shades of gray. There's nothing is as black and white as how people want to believe it is, which I think is kind of comical.
And the hard part is that you being my father and my best friend since I was a child, I have a certain affection towards you, and I understand your approach, and I have laughed off, funny things you've said as you've done for me. But for strangers, they really don't understand. And even my brother who comments on our videos sometimes, shout out to G, he's like, why would they say that? They have no idea what they're talking about dad. And I'm like, dude, you obviously, we have a different,
it's entertainment
feeling.
He's not getting that. That's why.
No.
Some of it's entertainment value. Some of it is done for entertainment value, but some of it is to a little bit of shocking.
Right.
A little bit to get the rise out of people, but there's sometimes it's just not vented. It's just not based in reality.
Right.
So it is what it is. So let's go. Let's start with the comment.
So funny. The first comment that I would like to share with you, it is from our episode 8 where we did Take 2, Trump's second term.
Okay, and you're gonna.
Yes, I'm gonna read it to you.
The person, right? Or are we gonna out the person?
No, okay, I mean we can. I don't know.
We don't have to. We want to be nice to all of you because we in the end we do appreciate each and every person who listens.
Right.
We just want those who listen to subscribe.
Exactly.
And we keep leaving more comments. Yes. We do appreciate it.
Yes. So one commenter said. Taxpayer in Texas here. People will fight for all kinds of causes, but will turn their back and look away at the first original sin of this country. The nerve. And for your dad to say Kamala's accomplishments are non-existent. What does your dad do for a living to say he's accomplished enough to make that statement? Because Kamala is a lawyer, prosecutor, senator, VP, and ran for president twice. So I'm trying to figure out if he's referring to her accomplishments as VP, or did he not follow her career while she was actively taking Republicans to task while in the Senate?
Really?
I'm not finishing your video. I don't mind a difference of opinion, but this video is purely ignorant. The country isn't just conservative, it's racist.
Okay. So my response to that is, whoever you are, you're stupid as fuck.
Dad.
Pure and simple, because not only has Kamala Harris not done shit in all the years she's been in public office, she's actually she hasn't done shit. There's nothing more to say about Kamala Harris. She's run for president twice and she's lost twice. Okay, so you guys who are saying what you're saying, And so you want my background. Well, I'm a finance, accounting professional for more than 35 years. So I've been in business for 35 years. So I have just a little bit of knowledge, right, of the way the world works, economics and otherwise. So politicians, to straddle any politician in a way where they are idolized, you're stupid.
It's weird.
It is. It's weird. It's a little creepy. And to think that this politician has done anything in the state of California when she was a prosecutor or an AG, whatever the hell she was, give me a fucking break. She didn't do shit. What did she do as vice president? Nothing. She ran for president this last time go around. She didn't run for president. They booted the old geezer out. And
Sleepy Joe
did not
put some respect on his name. They basically
ran that old geezer out, and she didn't run a primary race. So for God's sakes, people, wake up, read real news, stay off of People magazine news, okay? And
oh my God.
Be realistic about what your politicians are really doing. Both sides of the fence.
Okay.
Republicans and Democrats.
They're
all shit.
Next comment on the same video from Teresa Struckermeyer.
Okay.
Who we love. Great video, Victor and Alex. I'm so proud. I'm so glad you two can have political discussion without getting angry. I agree with Alex that traditional media cannot be trusted, and also being too political is stressful and takes away peace. Thank you for that.
That's right. And true.
Yes, it does. It's very alienating.
There's the issue. So when I say, whoever wrote that first comment was, you're stupid. No, you know what? I appreciate the comment, but you lack real base knowledge about how politics work and what politicians do. So I'm just saying, don't idolize them. Don't pretend you know what politicians do unless you really do. So to this last comment that we just had, you know what? We had a conversation about civil discourse, right? So I have lots of conversations with a lot of people. I have friends that are on every side of the spectrum, from the lunatic conspiracy theorists to the wackiest of wackiest conservatives. It's like crazy people. It's like, what are you talking about, right? And so I've got it from all spectrums, and I listen to them, and we can have dialogue and still walk away with friends and say, you know what, I love you no matter what.
Yeah.
So that's called civil discourse.
And that's what we do here on this podcast.
That's right. Because, my daughter her views might be out there, but she's actually pulled herself back in. My views might be out there, and I pulled myself back in.
Where do you think I learned it from?
The beauty of the beauty of myself, truthfully, is that, you know what, if you've got an argument and an opinion, and I should say an opinion that you can make a good, solid argument from, I'm willing to listen to you, you know what, and I'm open to change my mind. Absolutely open.
I feel like you've come a long way.
Because there's a reason why, because you know what, I know that our media out there is nothing but propaganda. I know that the politicians out there, I don't care what party you're from, are nothing but, self-serving in a lot of ways, fabricated in most ways, and but sometimes you have to pick the lesser of the two evils, and that's just the reality of politics, because we have a two-party system in this country, which we shouldn't have, but we do.
Right. Let's move on so we can get to all of them. This is from episode 9. It's Not a Face, Pokemon, Hello Kitty, and Other Obsessions, where we had your one and only son, Gianni Roggero, on as a guest. Okay. We got to do that again. He commented... actually, I'm sorry. He didn't comment. That's weird. It was actually his partner that oh no, he did. He's so ugly. He said, sheesh, who's that sexy ass dude in the middle? Ew. He's
himself.
He's so ugly.
He's talking about himself, right?
Yes.
Yeah. He's my son's got a great sense of humor. So.
And then his partner said, the one, the only Gianni. And then Feed the Aliens wrote, we would spend hours trying to beat high scores and show off to others in the store the best time. He's talking, that's Nick.
Yeah, okay.
Nick is my brother's childhood friend who we mentioned in the episode. Yeah. So we had, that was a very positive, set of comments there. I like that. We need a little bit there.
We have some positives.
And same thing goes for episode 10, Rebel Kids, Stories from the Formative Years, where my dad and I kind of share some of our favorite stories from growing up.
Okay.
Gianni, my brother, wrote, I kept smiling all throughout the podcast because I was sharing, of course, stories about him. And then his partner had written, G is a brat then and is a brat now.
It's kind of funny. So, there's layers and layers to our personalities and, our history and stuff. So it's kind of funny. So just the other day to lead on to this conversation about his nostalgia, right? So I was sitting there. I don't know what I was doing. I was in the kitchen and then I sat down because I was tired. And then I clicked on this movie, Thrashing.
Oh my God.
So I remember this movie. So I was just sitting there going, I know there's a scene. And then boom, it pops up. I rewind it, take a couple snapshots, and then I send it to all my kids. And
you were one of the actors in it.
One of the, it was funny.
Which was such a trip to see my dad.
I mean, I was in so many scenes, and it's amazing how in editing they cut so much out. So this is a movie about skateboarding in the 80s, I think it was, or whatever it was, or maybe the 70s or whatever, with Josh Brolin and a few other actors that probably aren't well known, but I was in that movie. So.
And what is it streaming on right now?
I don't remember. Maybe it was Primetime?
Amazon Prime?
Amazon Prime, or maybe it was
check it out.
Hulu?
Thrashing. Stream that shit. You'll see my dad.
And then I think.
And his fire red hair.
Your brother said, "Look at that hair."
Yep.
It was funny. Yeah. So there you go. Yeah. So nostalgia. Those are good scenes, and I didn't even remember I was actually in that movie. But there's other movies I was in.
That you've been in.
And I can't remember the names of them until I actually would see it. Right?
Oh my gosh. Okay, we need to track those
nostalgia.
down.
Yeah.
Jumping into episode 11, why my dad hated Kendrick's Super Bowl halftime show. God, this was like one of the episodes that really got people, and I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, oh my God.
I just thought, okay, we really liked it. I really, my boyfriend, I really loved the performance. So, we'll see what dad thinks. Honestly, that's how I was kind of going into the episode.
Yeah.
We got some comments for sure, and I'll just read them off to you, and then you can just generally comment.
Okay.
Your dad is racist. Is your dad Jeff Bezos? Opinions are like buttholes, but if you have one, it should come from being educated about a subject. And if you don't know, you should just say you don't know. I'm so offended by this video and the microaggressions, insults, and straight up ignorance and stupidity. I hope y'all go viral for all the wrong reasons.
All right, so stop there.
Okay.
Then you can continue. So the first comment was, what?
You're racist.
I'm racist. I'm not sure how anybody got that I was racist from that video, because I don't like a musician for his type of music. It doesn't make me racist. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Drake. I just like Drake better than Kendrick Lamar. But that was so triggering for all you good folks. Don't know why.
Is your dad Jeff Bezos?
I actually know. Hold on. I actually know a lot about music. Because I listen to all kinds of music, and I actually know a lot of Kendrick Lamar music. I just don't prefer it. I prefer Drake's music over Kendrick Lamar. But however,
for that feud specifically,
for that feud alone. But you know what? I also sat down and did a lot of research for that video before we did that podcast. So I actually knew a lot more than what I was leading into. So again, reality is different than what we're kind of presenting, because there's just we're doing that to give you guys a kick in the ass and have a little bit of fun with it as well.
Yeah, go outside and touch a tree. Jesus.
None of what I said was racist, and you people think that if that one person thought I was, you're clueless. But it is what it is. Now what's that? Jeff Bezos, because
is it because you're bald?
Apparently, some people, and I've had this from other people, that I was in Vegas once, and I was in Summerlin. I think I was getting coffee. And I think your sister was with me, and some guy comes up to me, "Oh, can you sign this?"
Are you fucking
and I
kidding
said,
me? Bruh, not my dad being mistaken for Jeff Bezos.
And I'm going,
my worst nightmare.
Oh, you're Agassi, right? Agassi? No, I'm not Agassi. The tennis player.
Oh.
Yeah, because apparently he lives in that area. And they thought I was Agassi. I can't remember the guy's first name though. But so apparently I look to one person, I look like Jeff Bezos. There you go. Whatever. And then what was the third one you raised?
Hold on, I want to give you his Andre Agassi.
Andre Agassi, yeah, that's it. What was the third thing you said?
The other one, or I didn't continue after that.
There were three that you brought up, right?
Let me see. I think I lost it. Opinions are like buttholes.
Oh, everyone should
that he's offended by this video. He's not going to finish watching it because it is straight up ignorance and stupidity. People are very impassioned
about their music, and I get it. I'm just saying to you, your viewpoints are yours. God bless you. My viewpoints are mine. I saw what I saw on social media as far as everybody standing around going, what the hell are they watching? I thought it was comical, so I thought I'd spin the podcast in that direction, and I thought it was kind of funny. So, but again, ignorance. Why? Because I don't attest to the Kendrick Lamar stream of people that like his stuff.
I don't know.
Okay.
Moving on to Nick, Feed the Aliens again. He said, shout out to Nick for watching and supporting all the way from Kentucky?
Tennessee.
Shout out.
Alabama, maybe.
Alabama. Sorry. We just saw him a few months ago. The halftime performance is based mostly on how one personally views it. Yes, there are going to be those who bash it. There are those that can say it was the best performance of all time. I will say that artists will do anything to convey a message, but what everyone seems to miss is that art is a two-way street. One talks and the other listens, and that's applicable to any art application, whether it be painting to music to photography. I personally did not like the performance due to it being on a platform for the media to facilitate anything that a crowd has a propensity to involve themselves with heavy emotion. I have not followed football for the last decade because it went entirely political and the media weaponizes it. This is a great talk. I love that you guys can express opinions without fault. Everyone should not be afraid to express opinions. We used to be a civil society, but however, the media has separated us.
Good point. I mean, so.
And then he says, "Can't wait for the next video. Keep it up, guys."
Yeah. So he couldn't have said it more eloquently than that, right? So there's a spin that the NFL has done, and it's become more and more woke over the years, and that was the messaging that we were at least that I was trying to convey in some of the dialogue we were having, and the halftime show couldn't have been more woke in that regard because of the scenery that it was exposing and the music, and then you got most of America not understanding what the hell was going on the internal battle and whatever. And I get it. I didn't get it until I had to sit down and do some research and stuff. So Nick, well stated. Obviously, the NFL has gone south in the way they view the way they've expressed their politics, and the media have picked up on it, and they just, hopefully it keeps changing, evolving back to what the sport was supposed to be. Gladiators on the field. And
even Gianni commented, fair takes on the Super Bowl's halftime performance. I wasn't a fan either, but mass media outlets will push or peddle anything these days. A great video, YouTube. P.S. Kendrick's older music is better.
Is it? Okay.
True.
There's one song that I've got on. Actually, I have a couple songs of Kendrick in my playlist. So
you do.
Again, I know Kendrick Lamar's music fairly well.
You do.
I pick and choose what I like to listen to. So.
And then we have someone, Clid4444 says, "Girl, I'm going to hold your hand when I say this, but your father is terrible."
I'm not sure what that meant.
I responded, and I thought about if I would respond or not. I'm not sure if I told you I responded, but
I'm not sure. Yeah.
I wrote, "Hi, I am quote unquote girl." I said, "To know my dad is to love him. He's quirky and bold, and I don't mind his approach or opinions. In fact, I welcome them. That's exactly why I do this podcast with him, to connect, learn about him and his perspective, and create conversation about the things we both care about. God bless you."
Yeah, wonderful. Did she reply?
Yes.
Oh, she did. Okay.
I was like, fuck. Actually, she didn't reply. Someone else did.
On her behalf.
People started replying to this.
Okay, cool.
God. I didn't read this. So when your dad asked you if the black community won't be happy until we have a gangsterhood in the White House, which was a joke.
Yeah, I know, right?
Where did that come from? What did he mean by that? Was that coming from a place of love? What does having a black president have to offer to this discussion? I get it. I'm just some random on the internet, and I don't have to engage with this nonsense, but I'm truly curious to see if you all are really this delusional. I honestly think he's acting like this to get attention and drive engagement. But either way, it's lame, and you should demand better from your father, especially if you're going to get on the internet and sit next to him while he's talking on his hind parts. Damn.
Hind parts? What's hind parts?
I don't know, but okay. I'm just like...
Yeah.
And then someone else wrote, "He's still racist. Keep holding his hand." So they're talking to me.
Oh, are they? Okay. Well, again, clueless on every level as far as the what was the messaging of it? Again, people are very passionate about their music and whatever. And yeah, if I wasn't a fan of Obama, true, that's a true statement. And I wasn't a fan of his politics, not of the person, but his politics. I thought his activism and his race baiting created the problems that we're living with today. And that's a true statement that I feel. Not the quality of the person he is, or the father or the husband or any of those kinds of things. I don't attest to what the media says about him and his wife and any of those things. I'm sure his daughters are wonderful people. But reality is he's a bad president. And that's just how I view it. That's an opinion. Doesn't make it real. It's just my opinion to it.
That's okay.
That's it. So I don't know.
I'm not offended by that opinion. He's not my favorite either.
Yeah, I'm not sure we've had.
I don't idolize presidents.
Yeah,
so.
I don't idolize presidents. I don't care what color you are, purple, green, black, or white, or whatever. I don't give a shit. It's the politics. Not even the politics. It's the policies which affect our lives. And most people think that the federal government really impacts our lives. It really doesn't. It's the local governments that affect our lives.
And most people don't care about that.
But there are national politicians that are race baiters. There's media that do that kind of stuff, and it divides us. And that's the problem I have. This music, Kendrick Lamar, the ghetto type music it is, which is what we were trying to.
Well, you were talking about the influences of street life, of gang influences.
Yeah. Like I said.
I mean, he's from Compton, so I didn't think it was misplaced at all, which is why I didn't correct you.
Which I didn't think it was misplaced either.
And it's also your perception of the music, right? As a listener, everyone has their own perception. They're taking different things. I'm a writer. I'm a creative. I know that, if I put out a poem, someone could read it the way that I wrote it, or they could read it a completely different way. Regardless, it's not mine anymore. Once you release art, it's not yours, it's someone else's. And so that's why I didn't feel the need to step in and be like, why are you listening to it like that, right? I'm not going to do that.
People's tastes change over their life, right? So as an example, as I was younger, the shit that I listened to was just probably no different than the shit that the younger people listen to today. I just the artists were just older. It
just also depends
NWA,
on what people care. What people,
Ice-T. I mean, those were artists that, for my generation,
were popular at the time.
And that were some of the music that I liked. But I didn't connect it that way to, necessarily in a negative way. It was just that's what I was listening to.
Right.
I didn't listen to it all the time because it is what it is. But I don't understand the whole, acrimony that some of these young people. I have to assume it's a young person saying that. So
I don't know.
Yeah, but wonderful.
Moving on to another video that I thought we would receive more comments on, but I thought this one was interesting. It's episode 13. Why does Gen Z love Hamas?
Yeah. Okay.
We got.
That's right. We didn't get a lot.
We didn't, which I'm honestly glad for, because you know what. That would have been a doozy, which we might still, I don't know. But
I remember one that said, "Call me a liar, liar."
Oh, really? That's not here anymore.
No, one guy, I think it was, and I remember it. I think maybe you shared with some guy just said, "Liar, liar."
Oh, they must have deleted it, so it's not here anymore. We have one from a commenter that says, "I'm a Gen Z here. We don't love Hamas. We're against genocide. Hamas is a totally legitimate military target. Innocent women and children are not." Before I continue, let me just say, friend, you are but one small percentage of Gen Zers that want to take Hamas out. Because most Gen Zers are reposting pictures with hearts with them that I've been seeing. I no longer follow a lot of people like that. But lots of people in our generation are not on the same side as you.
Yeah, and the idea of that particular podcast was simply that, right? And we are shocked that we didn't get as much attention to that one as we thought we would have. But there is a reality that the young people, Gen Zs, you young folk are clueless about what the reality is on the ground there in Israel.
We also scream from a high tower, right? We are in America, which a country that you can literally say whatever the hell you want. I'm wearing a shirt that says "fuck ICE" on it, like. But you know, we come from such a place of privilege where the vast majority of the rest of the world doesn't.
But they have a disconnect because you have queers for Palestine, you have trans for Palestine. I don't know what it is. There's an ignorance to it, and I think the messaging we were trying to convey was wake up. Mm-hmm. Don't live. What I don't understand.
You don't have to answer to the status quo, which is love.
But
violence.
I'm still lost at why we still see the riots in Columbia University, where they're running into the library and they're spray painting the library, all in support of homicidal terrorists. Mm-hmm. They are a legitimate target. And unfortunately, war creates collateral damage. Sad, it really is. But you know what? When you kill civilians deliberately, which is what Hamas did, right? What else is a nation left with other than going in and what I espoused, level Gaza?
Right.
Take it down, raise it to the ground, which is no different than what the English, the Americans, the Russians did in World War II. Mm-hmm. Where you know what? We bombed the shit out of, Germany.
Yeah, it's horrible.
To decimate it.
Right.
Bring it to the ground.
Right.
And where then after the ashes are done, a society can rise up and start over again. There were innocents killed. War creates death of collateral of innocence. It just happens. It's sad.
It's horrible.
But you know what? Don't pick a fight with a bigger gorilla, because you're gonna get pounded on. Yeah. That's just a reality. You want peace? Teach your children peace. Teach your children love.
It starts at home. Yeah.
Starts at home.
The commentator continues saying, given that the podcaster is Jewish, I expect him to defend his people. However, you can't expect others to sympathize with the Holocaust and being victims of history when Israelis are. That is fucking crazy. What?
You're false, because my Judaism has got nothing to do with the fact that I am a Zionist, first and foremost, right? So
you're saying that they're different, that they can be, they can live separately.
There are many Christians out there that I know, that I am friends with, that I talk to, that are Zionist. In fact, Christianity's foundational structure is Zionism in its nature, in its foundation, because the reality is, right, they want, they're very protective of the Jewish people because they are the people of God, right? So this is the way the story flows, right? So you can be Christian and a Zionist. You can be a Jew and a Zionist. You can be a Jew and a non-Zionist. There's plenty of them out there. So my argument is just that. First, I'm a Zionist. I believe in the resurrection of the promised, the Holy Land, the return of the Jewish land to the people that were there. Biblical history. Not this, made up lies that the Arabs that live in that region have tried to paint over all these years. And there's real knowledge that people have to do, and that's the problem with Gen Z.
And what you're saying right now, it completely dips into what he said. He said, however, you can't expect others to sympathize with the Holocaust and being victims of history when Israelis are actively committing genocide. That's pretty anti-Semitic, right? To be like, oh, because Israelis are doing this, the Holocaust is
First of all, the comparison of...
You're erasing history.
The comparison of what the Nazis did in World War II to the Jewish population in Europe and what is taking place in Gaza.
It's weird that they do that.
Completely wrong. Yeah. It's just there's just no connectivity to that. It's just there's a lack of foundational knowledge, and that's the problem with a lot of young people. They don't have what I like to use is that foundational knowledge. Pick up a book. Read your history. And then you'll understand what's going on there. And there's lots of documented stuff, not the stuff that the media feeds you or the bullshit that you're reading on whatever platform you're reading that from. Pick up a book. There's lots of historical books out there that bring you the history of that region. Read your Bible. That's the first start. That's the first place you should start. But to say that the Israelis are committing genocide, no, with all due respect, no.
Look, there's
no connection there.
I'm not the biggest fan of the Israeli government's, tactics, right? The violence. No one is happy about that for sure. But expecting them to react with open arms after October 7th, come on, guys. Like, we are not living in a fairy tale.
Yeah. But beyond that, I mean, with all due respect, the Israeli government, the Israeli nation doesn't start shit. It will defend itself. You launch an attack on Israel, they will counter. They will go back and pound you down on the ground. And that's what's happening. The Israeli government's primary objective is to protect its people. And its people...
All governments.
That's true. Good comment. But its people includes both Jews, Arabs, Druze, okay, Ethiopians, okay? They're historical, right? But they come to this land to live there, and they're all Israeli citizens. Arabs, Jews, right? Ethiopians, Druze. All these people live free in a nation they all have the same rights. You can't answer that same question, or you can't give that same comment to Arab lands, because you're either in a theocracy, you're in some kind of kingdom, or you're in some kind of dictatorship. There's a reality. And if you're if you're gay or a trans in any of those countries outside of Israel, you're gonna get murdered, because Israel's gay population, trans population, or whatever, however
very
you want
celebrated.
To very celebrated. So you know what? That's not an apartheid state. That's a welcoming state. That's a country that welcomes diversity. So you know what? To say that it's a genocide, you're stupid.
Especially in Tel Aviv, you know what I mean? Tel Aviv is like friggin' LA, right? Like, it's everyone is...
It's New York 10 times.
Yeah, so...
Yeah. So obviously this commenter doesn't have foundational knowledge. It's just the reality.
I don't know. It just makes me very uncomfortable when we, because of one thing that's happening, we're willing to disregard another horrible thing that's happening. I think we can hold them at the same time and approach them with the same, ability, right? I think it's uncalled for you to be like, well, you can't expect us to, give a shit about the Holocaust when this is happening. It's like, no, I think we can do that. I think we don't have to disregard and banish these 7+ million people that passed away in the Holocaust just because something else is happening, right? It's evaluating trauma or things in a way that's just not necessary. I promise you can do both.
This is what happened to the Jews of Europe, where the innocents were attacked. What's happening in the case of Gaza with Hamas is simply that. A radical terrorist group attacked a sovereign nation, right? So what a sovereign nation is going to do
is react.
When 1,200 of its innocents are murdered, burnt, raped, they're going to go and they're going to level. They're going to attack. The U.S. would do it. England would do it. Australia would do it. Any country on the planet is going to do that. I don't care who you are, what country you come from, they will go in and decimate whoever has attacked them. And so you talk about Ukraine, right? What the Russians are doing in Ukraine, I don't agree with what the current administration is doing with Ukraine. You can't have an agreement where Russia gets off scot-free. I think the reality is I wouldn't trust Ukraine with any real resources, money, but we've given them enormous amount of resources. I don't trust them. They're thieves. Not the people, the government. Okay, it's very corrupt.
I think people get that mixed up a lot, where they can't separate the fact that a lot of Israelis are protesting against Netanyahu. A lot of Israelis don't like that fool. Like, that's just how it is. And imagine if other countries looked at us, in that way, right? Painted us with a broad brush. The majority of people in any country are always going to have something to say about their government.
Yeah, government's government. I can agree with some of the policies of the Israeli government. I follow it very closely. I can agree with some of the things that Trump is doing, but other things I don't. some of his economic policies. I don't necessarily agree with everything that they're doing, and I hope it works. I've got some of my own opinions about the economic approach, but without due respect, you can't take a position that Israel is at fault here when they were attacked. Have they been heavy-handed? That's argument for opinion. I mean, it certainly is. That's an opinion that someone might have. Yeah, maybe
1,000%.
They could have been. Maybe. I mean, you're talking about a 1,000-pound gorilla, reacting to the murder of 1,200 other civilians.
Mm-hmm.
What's the value of one Arab versus one Israeli? I guess that's a theoretical question. I can't answer it. It's sad all around. Nobody should be harmed in war and collateral, but there's a reality that it happens. And if you want a better life, teach your children to love. Don't vote in terrorists. I guess that's the best way I can say it. Which is what the Arabs of that region have done. They voted in Hamas. Their tribal, the tribalism that's taken place there it's fractured that society, and I hope one day they can find peace and freedom and live side by side with their Jewish brothers.
But expecting everything to be all dandy after October 7th, which is a lot of the rhetoric. It's like, people ask, "Oh, what would you have done?" And a lot of people, on the radical left are saying, "We would have lived. The Israeli government should have lifted the borders."
Bullshit.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Look at 9/11.
Are you
What
serious?
did the United States do after 9/11?
Come on, guys. I know you're better than that.
We attacked how many countries after 9/11? Right?
Yeah.
We did not. Israel is doing absolutely nothing different than what the U.S. has done.
Right.
1,000 times.
But I think a lot of people might have an issue with that as well.
They
but okay, moving on. Moving on to our. Regardless, thanks for your comment.
Absolutely, we love it. Keep going.
Episode 16, we talked about when relationships die, and I feel like we made a friend with this commenter. Still not mad. They wrote. Sorry, I'm not going to gender them. That one? This one you did not.
Oh, I did not. Okay.
I did, but it didn't serve me very well. I didn't say much though, because anyway, so. They say, wow, that's a hell of a take. So therapy is a waste of time, which
can be.
Women are too dramatic.
Can be.
And
sometimes.
Men just want sex, food, and silence. Yes, definitely. I think I said that. Just kidding.
Necessarily said that.
Sounds more like a cry for therapy than a reason to skip it. Honestly, if you think emotions are drama, maybe you've just never learned how to handle them, yours or anyone else's. And reducing men to basic urges like a caveman with Wi-Fi, come on. Men are capable of emotional depth. Some of them. Real connection and actual conversations. If that sounds exhausting to you, maybe the problem isn't women. Maybe it's your own fear of being vulnerable.
Oh, look at that.
Real relationships aren't built on silence and submission. They're built on mutual respect, which you agree. If you want a woman who's quiet and only feeds you and sleeps with you, what you're looking for isn't a partner, it's an appliance. Wow. That is very articulate. And we agree with you. Everything you said, we agree. Granted, I think you forgot the nuance part and all of that. And I wrote, interesting recollection of the conversation. And oh my God, did she not like that. A safe response, likely out of loyalty to your dad. But as a woman, it's hard to ignore the remarks reducing women to providers of food, sex, and silence, reductive, objectifying, and dismissive of women's humanity. Oh my God, I don't remember that part at all. There's no getting around it. It's all right there, plain as day. With the episode titled When Relationships Die, it's no surprise his relationships have. When you view women this way, it's no wonder there's a trail of failed relationships. God, are you projecting?
Yeah, right.
Everyone's entitled to their view, and downplaying your dad's words only weakens meaningful dialogue. Removing comments that call him out isn't just unfair, it's a deliberate attempt to cover up how telling those remarks were. We've never deleted any comments.
Not one comment ever deleted.
Some of Vittorio's commentary is insightful, but the pattern of blaming women and dodging accountability is clear. Dismissing therapy as a paid vent session. It is. Shifts focus away from his own role in relationships failing. Refusing to reflect on his part paints a picture of someone who avoids responsibility. His repeated relationship breakdowns speak volumes. That said, your delivery was polished, and to your credit, you did call your dad's remarks primordial and dumb, recognizing how backwards they were. Full marks for that.
You did?
Shout out to you, Queen. Thank you
for that. I don't remember that. So I know I replied to one of these people.
Okay.
So look at the reply.
So she followed you to the next video, and we're just gonna jump right
because we want to make sure I want to address that.
So she started commenting to other commenters on our next video that followed, which was my 2025 Coachella review. So remember she had said that her comment was deleted, but she kind of kept continuing. Right. On to the next video. First, Teresa says, "Dang, Victor, you got haters. Some people have nothing better to do than bring others down. I think it's awesome you and Alex are doing this. Keep it up." She responded, girl, this person. "It's not hate to hold someone accountable for the words they choose to put out publicly. That's called responsibility. If the conversation feels uncomfortable, maybe that says more about the message than the messenger." And then she wrote her separate comment that said, "Interesting how calling women too emotional or performance-based always shows up the moment a woman speaks about an inconvenient truth. Mocking therapy..." Oh, so she's talking about what was the previous episode here. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. "Mocking therapy or dismissing boundaries as if there were a TikTok trend does not make you edgy. It highlights your emotional immaturity and refusal to accept any responsibility or accountability. Just something to consider for anyone watching, listening, or sliding into DMs." Oh my God, they have so much time. Yeah. "But hey, if mocking emotional maturity and romanticizing silence is what keeps your fan club sliding into your DMs, enjoy that all-you-can-eat ego buffet Vegas style, neon lit, bottomless mediocrity, while the rest of us savor a 6-course..." Oh my God, this person's fucking crazy. "Are you a serial killer?" Let me just keep reading because I feel like, "While the rest of us savor a 6-course tasting menu of raw authenticity. 1, a stiff drink of reality." And, oh my God, I'm not going to... This person's...
So did I reply to any of those? I think I did reply to one. I did reply to one.
You replied to a different person on this same...
I thought I replied to her.
No, you didn't.
Okay.
Gianni wrote, "Stay mad."
No.
And then the person continues, "How does being direct and thoughtful equate to being mad?" This is this person responding to my brother. "That's always the move. Label the tone when the truth gets too close. I'm not mad, just emotionally literate and not afraid to call out an outdated narrative." Oh my God, are you okay?
There you go.
This is the internet. Yeah. Go outside and breathe fresh air, read a book, unplug. I don't know. So someone else commented saying, "Funny how my last comment, calling out how you dismiss therapy as pointless, label women overly dramatic, and reduce us to mere sources of food, sex, and quiet, was deemed misplaced and deleted." Is this the same person?
I replied to this.
But it's a different account. You did reply. You said, "You're clearly upset, and honestly, I get it. When emotions run high, it's easy to twist someone's words into the worst possible version. But let's get a few things straight. I never said women exist solely for food, sex, and silence. What I pointed out, bluntly sure, was how some people expect relationships to revolve around those dynamics without putting in emotional work themselves. That includes men and women." You said, "As for therapy, I didn't dismiss it. I criticized how some people weaponize it as a badge of superiority while refusing to actually grow. That's anti-therapy. That's anti-bullshit. You don't have to agree with me, but if you're going to call me out, do it honestly, not with exaggerations and personal digs about failed relationships and DMs like you're keeping score. If my views are that weak, let them fall apart on their own. No need for the drama you claim to despise." This comment won't be deleted. You wanted a litmus test. Here it is. Let's see if you can handle disagreement without turning it into a performance. Then they fucking replied to you.
Oh my God, they replied even more. Love this.
"Oh, I can handle disagreement just fine. What I can't stomach is revisionist history dressed up as reason. You did reduce women to food, sex, and quiet time. You did mock therapy, calling out drama and catchphrase culture while pretending you're above it all. Now you're backpedaling with a polished tone and claiming misunderstanding. No, this is just damage control."
Damage control.
They continue.
Did they? Okay.
So yes, litmus test passed, comment left. Now try something new. Take responsibility without spinning it into another emotionally detached monologue.
There you go.
So these people are visiting us a few times.
Good. I'm glad. We'll keep on. We love it.
Next.
I'm not sure. I mean, what's your reply there, right? So I think I made a comment that some wacky person, a couple actually, it wasn't a, what did they call it? I wasn't some kind of pounding my chest that it's like, oh, whatever. Somebody slimmed in my DMs, and then you made a comment about that's what you did to Jacob.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying sometimes that happens. People do try to communicate with you, and I wasn't saying that as a bravado. I was just saying somebody DM'd me,
and that's okay.
That was it.
Shit.
I mean, I have been in the best relationships over the years, and I've enjoyed every single one. I've had, I've had the benefit of creating lovely children who are highly intelligent, and I'm warm and loving and enjoy the benefit of all the relationships that I've ever had.
But I'm irresponsible for letting you talk like that.
It's fascinating that people think that I dismiss therapy when therapy has been a part of quite a bit of our lives. But
that's true.
The benefit is, I wasn't saying that it's a negative. It's just, it's fascinating how people just twist and turn events and stuff.
Right.
And when I say women can be dramatic, so can guys.
Yeah. I think you said that too.
Yeah.
But I think they only heard.
Yeah, of course. They hear what they want to hear. So.
Right. Moving on to the last video that we have up, which is what is Trump derangement syndrome?
Okay, we got some there too.
Nothing crazy, but I wanted to end on this because I thought it was interesting. Blue Boy wrote, "Libtards and maggots need to band together."
Okay.
Love that.
That was good. That was funny.
Teresa writes, "Alex, you have grown so much. I agree with you on most things. Victor, I agree with you on most things, except I don't think calling names like libtards helps with the divide between sides. Overall, great podcast. Proud of you guys."
True. She's right. She's right. There was one that I remember reading. Something, was it the last one we did?
Yes.
She did. Okay. You mark that one down? Okay, good.
Yeah. I'm also gonna read a few of our comments from our shorts because I saw one the other day that really was interesting to me, and I don't know, I think it's important to mention. I'm pulling them up right now.
I gotta love people, right?
Yeah, and then we get great ones too from our shorts because our shorts are viewed by a lot of people. Someone wrote, this is from the Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl episode. "One is brief moments for the club and short relationships, and another is for longevity and growth." Look, you know what, brother? I don't know what the you're talking about, but thank you for the comment. Another is, "Sorry they couldn't get Bruce Springsteen and Billy Joel out of their walkers to perform this year. Who would you have perform, old man?"
That's funny. That's okay. I appreciate that. Which, by the way, I don't like either one of those two bands, but okay.
Someone wrote, funny. "Bruh, Apple Music Picks is not the NFL. They just bought it like 20 years ago."
Okay. Good to know.
Someone wrote, "When you find out this music generation isn't for you anymore." And then someone else wrote, her father is ignorant and misinformed. The show set records. That's why he was selected."
Oh, is that the case? Okay.
Moving on. This is for the Trump derangement syndrome episode.
Okay.
Someone wrote liars, but spelled liars wrong.
Okay. Did they?
Ay.
Okay.
Someone else wrote, "Nobody chooses to be the victim. You were talking bullshit."
Okay.
Moving on.
I'm not sure how that one connects to the TDS, but
I don't know. But do you remember? Oh, here we go. This is the last one. Also from Trump derangement syndrome. I don't know if Mike Minder 3854 liked my commentary, but he said, "Nose hardware says it all." Really? You're talking about my nose ring. What is that supposed to say about me?
Apparently, you're part of that TDS.
The libtards.
Libtards.
I am a libtard because I have a nose ring in my nose.
Clueless.
All right.
Yeah. Wonderful shit.
That's everything I have. We really appreciate the comments that you guys leave. It's interesting. My dad will call me while I'm at work, and he'll be like, "Oh, did you see like the feedback that we've gotten?" And sometimes it's funny. Sometimes it's concerning because I'm wondering, if you guys put that that through spell check ever. You know, I don't know.
There's probably a lot of them that don't do spell check and whatnot, or
they're just going for it.
Can't write a verse that.
But it's okay.
But it's okay. Either way, we appreciate it.
We appreciate it, especially our friend our friend's still mad. That's the username that's continuing to comment. Please let us know what you think of this video and everyone after, because
you know what,
we appreciate you.
In the end, we do appreciate you.
Yes.
We do appreciate all the comments, the negative ones, the positive ones. You know what? We do read them. We laugh.
Yes.
Sometimes we'll comment. Generally, we don't, because it just would take too much time to do that. But we do.
And I promise you, I'm okay. Don't worry. Jesus, right. They're like, blink twice, girl. Please.
Right. And I'm not horrible. So
oh my God.
But if you think I am, oh well,
that's okay.
All right, good deal.
Anyway, all that to say.
All right, well, guys, again, we had some fun on this one, but thanks so much for listening to us. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. Please continue those comments. If you're on all the other podcast platforms, go ahead and listen. Leave comments there too as well. I think you can on most cases.
And if you want to catch up with any of our episodes, go back and see what these conversations are about, and let us know. Because
we try to put out one a week religiously if we can. You know, there are life does consume us sometimes. So, but for the most part, we are doing it fairly consistently. Yeah. So please go back, listen.
Let us know what you think.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.